All right. We are here and we are live again. Welcome to Thrive Life Thursdays, where I talk everything about thriving as an ADHD parent in real, raw, true aspect when it comes to parenting an ADHD child. It is raw, real, holy, and humorous. Not always, but sometimes. But this just brings to not to light, but just brings to the real of what the challenges are and what the joys are and all of the things that sometimes people don't really understand. And so, again, follow me on all social handles. I am live right now on Instagram and also on YouTube under my business, TL Collaborative. You can check me out on the website, tlcollaborative.podia.com, where you can get more resources, tips and tools. I do provide coaching for moms as well as masterclasses. And so you can see the website for that. Other Thrive Live sessions, speaking engagements, and emotional intelligence training for organizations, as my mission is to um, reimagining how moms of ADHD children are supported and seen. And so I work with organizations on building that emotional intelligence so that the systems that support us are, doing it the way that we need it to do. So let's get started. Enough with the promotions and all of those things. You can look at my page and see all of that stuff. But as I mentioned, the raw and the real. And so, welcome today's session where it is titled When Showing Up Feels Like All You've Got. What can God do with a tired yes? And I know that we have all been there. And the reason why I know is because I am a mom of a neurodivergent ADHD child, and sometimes that's all I have. And so I want to talk today really just talking about a situation, a scenario, and kind of how I got the revelation. And I hope that this helps you. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get started right in real, because the only way that I know how to do it. But I want to tell y'all about something that happened in my house when my daughter could not pick out her outfit and I lost it. And I'm not talking about like the textbook type of lost it. I'm talking about in the screaming out loud, the screaming in the pillow, the crying in the bathroom kind of lost it. I didn't feel like a coach. I didn't feel like a woman of God. I felt out of control. I felt like a mom trying not to snap because I was on my last leg, and that meltdown was honestly on my last nerve. And I had to ask God, like, who am I supposed to be right now? But if I'm being honest, before I even asked him who I was supposed to be, I honestly prayed that he would just bypass this, like bypass this whole process and just tell me the lesson. Like, I don't want to go through the process and get the lesson. I told him I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to learn. I didn't want to have a revelation later. I just needed to know now. And I needed to know right now so that I can really break free of this. I didn't want to be in it. I wanted to break free so that I didn't break anything, so that I didn't break the relationships, so I didn't break something in the house, so that I didn't break my child. I mean, honestly, like it was bad and we were stuck. And I know that y'all had those moments too. Like, drop an emoji in the chat if you've had that moment where you were just at your wits' end and you just knew nothing else to do. And the only thing you could do is either scream or cry or do both and hide. And that's what that moment looked like. It was a hiding moment where that's all I had to give. That's all I can do. I felt in the moment that I just needed. I felt boxed in. And so, as you probably have guessed from the very real moment story, that this is not going to be a polished or a perfect parenting talk about how to be the best parent, how to be the perfect parent. Here's some tips and tools. Here's a 1 2 3 step. Here's a Venn diagram. Here's a flow chart. Here's some things you can do. This is not the parenting book. This is real. The only way to learn it is when you're in it. And so this is real. This is not your I need to write down these strategies so that I can get the perfect kid in 5 days. This is as a mom and for me to just breathe. So if you've not taken a moment to do that today, then take that moment right now. I'm telling you, just breathe. So I want to give you a little bit of a POV. My child was experiencing something called decision paralysis. Now, that's not the technical name for it. It is a part of ADHD where executive functioning is challenged. So making decisions and all of those types of things. So I'm going to give you a little bit of about ADHD, decision paralysis. I'll give you some psychological context and then some biological context, because I'm a teacher, and so that's what I do. And I studied psychology as well as I was a science teacher for many years. So my degree's in psychology. But ADHD brains, they're wired for novelty and stimulation and urgency. So when they're faced with like multiple options, especially if none feel urgent or exciting because they need that excitement, then their brain literally short circuits, kind of like the cartoon where you see like the Jetsons. Maybe dating myself there. But the cartoons where you see like something didn't happen right, and so there starts to be a glitch, and that's really basically how you can explain it. They start to glitch, and it's not laziness, it is executive functions. And the challenging part of that is when you explain it to someone who has no idea, or you explain to someone who doesn't understand, or they don't believe in ADHD, then they think that you're just making it up or you're making excuses for your child. But it is a real thing. You can look it up. And so think of it this way, that their brain wants to move, but the steering wheel is jammed and there is no GPS signal to tell them how to get out of it, and they're stuck. And so that is decision paralysis. And it feels like knowing you need to choose, but your mind goes blank, or feeling overwhelmed by a simple choice like what to wear, or where to start first, and you're stuck. Panicking because time is passing and you're stuck. And what does that do to the parent who is in that moment with the child as well? Is you're like looking at the clock. Imagine you're trying to get to school or trying to get them somewhere, and you got to be somewhere, and you know time is happening, and you're just like, just put on clothes, just. And to you, it seems very simple, but their brain is stuck. It cannot make that decision. It's not, they're not choosing to do it. And that sounds like an excuse. And in the moment, you are very frustrated because it feels like an excuse. You're just thinking, why can't you just put this on? Why won't you just do this? And so you're very frustrated. And the kicker to it is the more pressure you feel to make the right choice, the harder it gets to choose anything at all. So the more stuck you get when there's more pressure. So, like I mentioned, psychology is my jam. That's what I studied in my degree. And then again, I was a science teacher for many years. So I'm just going to give you both. That's the psychological aspect of it. And then there's the biology of it, which is the same where the brain. And so ADHD brains, there's their prefrontal cortex part of their brain. And this is the part that is responsible for planning and prioritizing and decision making. This is the part that the critical thinking develops. And it doesn't fire the same way under low stimulations. And so when things are not going according to the way their brain operates, then it's not moving, it's not doing anything, it's very understimulated, so they can't do. And that's where that whole thought process of you're being lazy or you're being lethargic, it's just because they're not stimulated. And so their brain can't operate for them to just jumpstart and get it done. They don't have that capability. So at the same time, there's often low dopamine activity, and that's the hormone that allows them to get excited and motivated and follow through, and the reward anticipation and all of those things. And so here's what's happening with the body when that's going on. The brain doesn't register reward like or urgency needed to act, and their cortisol, which is their stress hormone, is extremely high. So that delays their decision, because nobody can make decisions when you're stressed. Think about it. When you're overly stressed and you're trying to make decisions, you're probably making crazy decisions or no decisions at all because you're stressed. And that's what's happening with them. And so they freeze. And not because they don't care, but not because but because their brain is literally on a standoff between fear and inaction. They just can't move. Now, here we are. My child couldn't pick an outfit. So back to that. And all of that's going on in her brain. And not to mention everything that's going on with me. And we have to go to school. Like, I mean, We have to, not because not just because she needs her education, but because I need a break. Like, we have to go to school. And by we, again, I mean she, especially after this type of morning that we're having. And now I know all of the psychology and the biology behind all of this, yet I am there screaming in my pillow and just trying to survive this moment. So just having this knowledge and knowing this information doesn't make it easier, it doesn't make it go away. You understand what's going on, so you can reflect and think about how you show up, but it's still hard. And so you're just in a survival moment like I was. And so I didn't yell because I was mad. I yelled because I was so overstimulated and so overwhelmed, and I still had to show up. I couldn't just hide in my room or walk out the door and just be done. I didn't have patience. I didn't have a plan. I had tears and a lock on my bathroom door and a prayer, or better yet, a demand to God that take this away now, right now. And after the tears and after the pleading, I then and only then, I didn't do it first. Then I shifted and asked God, who am I supposed to be right now? Right now, who am I supposed to be? Not later, but right now, who am I supposed to be? And one other thing that I really discovered, that in a meltdown moment, sometimes my co-regulation is a overstimulant for her. It is me being in the presence of her to try to co-regulate, because you'll see all the textbooks say co-regulate, model positive breathing, model calm. But when you are in the fire, trying to be calm in the fire when the fire is hot, yeah, I can't breathe right now because I'm just as overstimulated as her. And so I found that my co-regulation is getting the heck out of Dodge, like out of sight, out of mind. I've learned that sometimes my presence in these moments could be the presence of stress, and it's counterproductive to calming and regulating. So I have to remove myself. As long as she's safe and she's okay, I have to get out of sight and out of mind. So I hide, not to coward, but to co-regulate differently. It looks different for every family. I have to shut down and then regulate myself. So you can take that one for free if that works for you. If not, again, it looks different for everyone. But spoiler alert, because I know you are on the edge of your seat, ready to ask, did a miracle happen? Like, did God take it away? And not exactly, because I truly was hiding. I had to really check what my real stress was, because I still had to show up, regardless of how long I was going to stay in the bathroom, regardless of me not being able to feel like I have it all. I still had to show up. And so I had to be absent of her so that I could remove that stress and figure out how to address what was the underlining cause of me feeling anxious. And as you could probably guess, it was getting her to school. That was the thing. Like, I didn't care if you put on pajamas and flip-flops with a tank top and it's snowing. I just needed you to go to school. So I had to figure out how to make that happen and how to make it happen quick, because I was already done. So when I resurfaced, she was dressed, thank God. Removing the stress on both ends allowed her to really regulate and make the decision that was most pressing for us individually. Mine was I needed to get the heck out of Dodge. Hers was she needed to get dressed, and we had to be able to get in a space for both of us to make that decision. But I didn't get on here today to give you best practices for co-regulating or best practices for parenting tips for ADHD child, because everyone's on a different journey and so things look different. And if that works for you, by all means, again, that's free. Take it, use it. Figure out what does work for you. DM me, ask me what if you're going through something, what I might have done that worked for me, and let's collaborate. Again, nurturing the woman behind their child's diagnosis, nurturing the woman behind the title of mom. That is what I'm here for you today. So I am here to really discuss what the topic is, when showing up feels like all you've got, and what God really can do with that tired yes, because that is where I was. And so, no, God did not bypass the process, and He didn't give me the answers to the test during the test. But in reflection, which because I'm a teacher by nature, we'll call it review. That's what He gave me. He gave me review. And so later on, God reminded me of the story of the woman, the widow, who only had a little bit of oil to feed her son, make some bread to feed her son and her, and then she was going to die. You may remember the story. It comes from 1 Kings 17, verses 8 through 16. And so she was just going, like I said, was going to feed her son and feed herself, and so that she can, that would be their last meal, and she was going to die. And so this situation, just like this situation, she didn't have a strategy. That was her strategy. That's where this is going to be it. She just had a little bit of oil and a whole lot of fear. Imagine being in a situation like that. And this is what this felt like. I had nothing. I felt like I had nothing. This is all I had, was the scream, the cry, and anxiousness. And she was probably exhausted, exhausted of being just tired, trying to figure it out, exhausted because she was at her wits' end, and she was just at the end, and she was ready to make her last meal and just give up. She had to do what she had to do, and she was done. But then comes the prophet Elijah, and he asks her for one more thing. You ever felt like that? Like you are the mom doing all the things, and your kid comes up and says, "Oh, can you do this?" And then you're about to snap. So this prophet comes to her and asks her for one more thing. And he says, if you don't know the story, this is going to trip you out. Make me cake first. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm about to make my last, and you want me to make you give it to you? This is when I say my last, I mean not like my last until tomorrow, my last until next week, my last until next month. Like I don't know when the next is coming. This is all I have. I have nothing, and we're gonna die after this because this is our last. I'm at my wits end. But somehow, in her lack, she said yes. Like you, like me, when we are at our wits, like I was in the end of my rope with my last good nerve shot, and yet I still had to show up. I still had to wipe my tears. I still had to splash some water on my face and come out of the bathroom and say yes to the call. Yes to the call of the mother of the child that I was given. And the widow, she didn't say yes because she was strong. She said yes because she had nothing left but obedience. And that's what hit me. That's what so many of us do. We show up for our kids. We regulate for our kids. We advocate for our kids. We wipe tears, theirs and ours, not because we feel holy or equipped, but because we have to. And you know, the biggest part of that is God still honors that yes. What made the miracle possible wasn't just the oil, it was her yes. She said yes in survival mode, true survival mode. She was about to make her last meal, and that was enough. And that yes, given in the middle of her breakdown, in the middle of her I have nothing, was the beginning of a miracle. And so my yes didn't feel holy in that moment. It felt heavy, but still it made room for the miracle. Your yes in your moments may not feel holy, but your yes is what gives room for the miracle. And so we live in a culture that tells us as moms, just keep pushing through. Be gentle, stay calm. It don't take all that. You're overreacting. But what happens when you don't have calm? What happens when the blur is your baseline and you are just walking through like a zombie? We need more than visibility. We need support. And this support is what makes space for the yes that come from survival, the tears behind the locked doors, the prayer you mumbled while wiping your face and your kid's face and still packing a lunch or dropping them off at school late and having to go in the building and sign them in and try to hide your face because you just had your own meltdown before getting there and getting your kid to school. Being seen when someone sees us for the challenges that we're faced, that affirms our humanity, that affirms our reality. But being supported, that's different. That builds restoration and that restores our hope when we know that there's something and there's someone out there that can provide the support that we need in this challenging time. And so this isn't about being strong, it's really about being held. We have a challenge. We have been um, blessed with our children, but we also have been called for them. And any calling requires equipment, requires um, us to be in the fire sometimes. And this isn't, um, again, like I mentioned, this isn't your 1, 2, 3 parenting class, how to make it go away or how to fix your child in 3 days. No, that's not it. But I really want you to know that your yes is not small, it is sacred. And even when it's a whispered yes or a yes or a crying or just a nod of the head because that's all you can do. If all you could do today was get up and show up, that counts. If your faith felt really shaky, like mine did this week, but you still moved, that counts too. And if your prayer was just whispered through your clenched teeth, that still counts. When I was in that bathroom and I was just like, God, who do I need to be? I, I need you to take this away. That counts. He didn't take it right away, but I still showed my humanity and my humility, recognizing who he is. And the miracle didn't start when, if just like the woman, the widow, the miracle didn't start when she got more oil, but it started when she gave what she did have. That's where her miracle started. Drop an emoji in the chat if this resonated with you. If you've had those decision paralysis moments, if you've had those moments where that's all you had and you didn't feel like it counted. And so I just want to take a moment before we start to end is I want to pause and really speak to the version of you, the mom, the woman behind the mom title that no one sees. The version of you who cries in the bathroom and still has to make breakfast or dinner. The version of you who feels invisible unless someone needs you or something goes wrong. The version of you who's holding it together with literally duct tape and grace. You are not alone. I build this space and this platform again to reimagine how moms of ADHD children are seen and supported. You are not alone and you are not unseen by God. He gave you that child. And so, therefore, He gave you what you needed for it. And that doesn't mean that it's like a shelf where you pick it off the shelf and you're like, okay, I need this and I need this and it's going to be easy. No, this is your calling and it's not easy. And I know that doesn't feel good because I'm saying it to myself, but to know that I've been called by God and He gives me what I need, I have to go through some things to get it. That doesn't feel good all the way. And so, this is your permission to stop performing and just be. Like we sometimes walk through life really performing because we think we have to put this facade on for other people because they won't understand. We're embarrassed because they think that our child is bad, or we're embarrassed because they think that we don't have control over our child. We don't know how to control the situation. Stop performing and just be. You have been gifted with this child. And I want you to join me in being the mom who says yes with tears in her eyes. Be the woman who still shows up even when she's unraveling. Be the vessel that God can fill. Your yes is your obedience, no matter how you gave it. And it's not because you're perfect, but because you're available for God to use you. And so for me, for you, for the widow, faith didn't remove the blur of the situation, but it really made room for it. And just like in that bathroom, when I asked God to take it away right now, like I don't want to know the process. I don't need to know the process. I just need to know right now what I needed. And I had faith that He can do it, but that it take it away. But it did make room to what God. And so I want that to resonate with you. I really want that to set there because sometimes we feel like our showing up, our yes, our frustration is not enough. But when we are giving it to God, I've talked, I think the week before last, what surrender really looks like, or what sacrifice really looks like, and that is surrendering, giving it to God, and that's what that is like. Yes, God, I'm showing up because I know that you have something for me, and even though I don't want the process, I know you have something for me. So, um, if this live really met you tonight, I just want to leave you with a couple of things. I want to let you know that God still honors the yes that doesn't feel spiritual. It's not the one when we're in church and we're just raising our hands and we're looking to God from what's coming to our help, but it is just what's needed. That is also a yes that God honors. This is the yes that comes from necessity, the yes that you whisper in the middle of the blur of life. And that miracle that you're waiting on, that miracle that I'm waiting on, it may already be happening in the stretch, in the quiet, in the faith. Keep going. But for right now, it is almost 8 o'clock. Rest. You've been going all day. I've been going all day. You've been going all week. And as we come up on Good Friday, where we are celebrating the death and the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, rest. Rest in knowing that He has you. Your yes didn't have to be loud to be multiplied, but your yes can be used because it is your obedience. Whew. I really, this was heavy on me all day because this is real. This is real stuff. And so I just want to really thank you all for showing up, allowing me to have this space to be vulnerable, raw, and real. There's no comedy in this one, no hilarity in this one, that's for sure. But I want to let you know that you are seen, you are supported, and you are still in the miracle. Keep going. Keep going. God has definitely has something for you. If He called you and you're in the fire and you have to go through the survival process, then God has something for you. He has something for me. And so if tonight met you in the middle of your meltdown and you're still wondering, what do you do after? This is where I want to give you an invitation, and I want you to know that there is more. And I created a space for you, a space where the healing doesn't have to just be in the live or happen when I do lives. And so I have a masterclass, a free masterclass that's coming up called In the Meltdown Fire. And this is an hour masterclass that is free. And it's for moms who are melting down too. There's a lot of strategies and techniques out there for your kids when they're melting down, but honestly, when they're having one, we're having one too. And so the Meltdown in the Fire free masterclass is coming up on April the 26th. I think that's I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it in the comments. April 26th, I think it's a Saturday. So I think it's at 7 or 3:30. I don't remember. It'll be in the comments. uh, yeah, I jot that note down in front of me. It's on my calendar, but it'll be in the comments so that you can take note. There'll be a lot of advertising for it. But there's no shame in anything that I do. There's no fluff. There's just truth, strategy, and support that really gets it, that gets what you're going through. So you can register for that masterclass on my website, tlcollaborative.podia.com/meltdown-fire. You can look in my bio for the link to register as well. And I just want to let you know that you don't have to survive this alone. I want to walk together with you. So continue to follow me on social media for more tips and tools and resources for how we reimagine how moms of ADHD parenting are seen and supported. Love you guys. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great night and have a happy Easter.